Our research has shown that most advisors don't actually know what discovery calls actually are, and that while they're first meeting with potential clients, while coming off professional and efficient, can be emotionally hollow and fail to really spark that strong connection. So today I am talking with Chris Holman, who is the author of the newly published Discovery Shift: Why Talking Less and Listening More Wins Business. And he's going to be sharing with us, what most advisors get wrong when it comes to, or the big misconception they have when it comes to discovery meetings, and how they might, or you might, improve your process to get things off to a better start with potential clients. So, Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
And I
Hi.
wonder if you can kind of paint us the picture of what tends to happen in these initial meetings.
First off, Doug, you used the word wrong. I want to maybe not use that word, wrong or right. Maybe point out differences in what advisors perceive. And here's what I'll say to that is that many discovery meetings, the initial meetings, are about data collection, where advisors are gathering facts, they're staying in control, it appears really efficient, but that's intake. It's not discovery.
Yeah, okay, so intake versus discovery. Can you help us define what the difference is between those two things?
Sure. Intake, closed-ended questions, yes and no questions. Intake, where the advisor is collecting information, typically to gather data to complete a plan. Discovery is different. Discovery, how I'm defining it, is different. It's creating understanding between the advisor and the prospective client. Discovery starts where there is trust and when the prospect feels safe, and intake-driven questions don't do that.
Okay, so what has kind of led you to see that this is an issue and that many advisors are, you know, doing, intake instead of discovery, and why this is, such a problem?
Good. I'm glad you asked that question. I'm not making this up out of whole cloth. What I have done, what we have done at the Discovery Lab, at the Horse's Mouth Discovery Lab over the past 5 years or so, is we've recorded discovery meetings between advisors and prospects. And we've recorded now more than 100 plus. And the pattern was the same across pretty much all 100 or so recordings. Advisors were polite, they were competent, they were efficient, but the conversations were emotionally pretty hollow. And that's not a coincidence, and I'm not criticizing necessarily advisors for doing it. Many of them have been trained to do it that way, to do intake. Again, it's intake, not discovery.
Yeah, and of course, there's a disconnect, as you've pointed out, between what advisors, many advisors think they're doing and what they're actually doing. So why is this mislabeling or this mismatch, this disconnect, such a problem?
Well, we're calling them discovery calls, so we're labeling them than that, the implication being that discovery happens. So if you're an advisor doing an initial call and you're calling it a discovery call, you already think you're doing discovery because you've called it that, which means that why should I improve it? I'm already doing discovery. And what I'm saying, what I'm observing is that label creates a false sense of confidence, and it prevents the advisor from saying, how could I do better? How could I do real discovery, or discovery as we're talking about now?
And if so many advisors kind of default to the intake style with these first meetings? There must be a reason for that. Why do you think advisors kind of gravitate towards intake?
Sure. Everything happens for a reason. And the reason that I see is that when you do intake, when an advisor does an intake driven meeting, you reduce uncertainty. It gives an amount of structure to the meeting, control, and many advisors think it's a fast way, a quick way to demonstrate their competence. When you do discovery, when you ask open-ended questions, which is the core of what many discovery meetings are, it takes that comfort away. It takes the control away. It leaves it open to the possibility that the person you're talking to is going to say something that's not on your checklist. And that can be a bit scary.
Yeah, and so what tends to be hidden or, doesn't come out if you're doing, intake?
Well, think of it. Think of the dynamics. When someone is meeting, put yourself in the chair of the prospective client. They're meeting you, there's no real rapport yet, you're just building trust. You're not going to open a vein and tell the advisor everything, first off. And so if you are in a conversation with a lot of closed-ended intake questions, you're not likely to talk about things that are fearful to you. You're not likely to share some really boneheaded mistake financial mistake you made years ago. You're shameful, you're regretful. Maybe there's family tension going on. Maybe there's tension between you and your spouse next to you. These are all factors that drive the choice that we make, the financial choice we make, and they don't show up in a checklist. They don't show up with intake type questions.
And so why don't, soft questions fix this issue?
Soft questions. And we see that. I've seen that in the recordings we do where advisors will do intake, soft question, or maybe a soft open-ended question, something like that. Better discovery is not about better questions. It's about whether the conversation allows emotion to stay in the room. What I mean by that is that when you hear the prospect say something emotionally laden, something fearful, something alluding to some amount of shame they have with respect to their money, you want to keep that in the room. You want to stay in the conversation. And intake-driven conversations don't do that. Intake-driven conversations let the emotion come in. I'm not talking about being a therapist, by the way. I'm simply talking about being attuned to what you're hearing from the other person across the table from you. Intake-driven questions don't allow that.
And so moving down the process a little bit, when it comes to, the actual, plan that you put in place for the client or the would-be client, how does in that more default intake style way of doing things affect that plan?
Yeah. So the plan is a piece of paper. I'm not saying that thinking doesn't go into the plan. So a discovery conversation that doesn't get to the core of, if I'm talking to you and Doug, I don't really ask you what you're most concerned about financially, which, believe it or not, many advisors would not ask in these discovery questions. The fundamental question, Doug, what are you most concerned about? Advisors aren't asking questions like that. It's really kind of stunning to see. But when that doesn't happen, when I'm not asking you a question like that, and I create a financial plan for you, you may admire the plan, but you're not invested in it because you and I haven't had a conversation where you've revealed that, Chris, what I really want to do is X. that's what I want to achieve. So a plan may be created, but if you don't have your heart into it, your heart and soul into it, you may not follow it.
And that heart and soul element, I'm guessing, is a big distinguisher between uh, you know, a, a plan that, a thoughtful and discovery-minded advisor puts together, and maybe one that is generated through some kind of software solution. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we're in the midst of it now, Doug. I mean, you or I or anyone out there, we could go to many vendors and we could have an intake-driven conversation with an AI bot or an agent or something like that. Software, we're using the software. But here's the thing, and AI is only going to get better at this too, by the way. Software, the software we're talking about that creates financial plans and that exists today, it will be very efficient. And when you think what advisors have left, what advisors will have left as AI becomes better and better, the only advantage that advisors will have is emotional understanding. And so what we're talking about here, when we talk about doing discovery in the way that we're describing here, we're saying, look, you want to stay ahead of AI. Use the advantage that humans have, our emotional intelligence. Stay ahead of AI. If you don't, a person can use AI and develop a financial plan for about the same price they would pay for Netflix.
Yep. Yep. Okay, Chris. Well,
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to talk about your book, Discovery Shift, which is now available. I just put the link up on screen, but if you're listening, you can go to www.discovery-shift.com to learn more and get your copy. And Chris, the name of your book is, the title is Discovery Shift. I'm wondering if you can share perhaps one kind of immediate shift that advisors can make to do more discovery in those discovery calls.
Doug, thank you. I like how you phrase it, the one thing. For any of us to begin a new behavior, as a coach, I know this for a fact. The best way to begin doing a new behavior is to take one step, one simple thing, not the whole enchilada, so to speak. So here's what you can try, what advisors might try in the next meeting, client meeting, discovery meeting, whatever meeting. When emotion shows up, when the person you're speaking with, when emotion shows up, don't rush past it. Pause. Stay there. Ask a follow-up question. Stay one beat longer. And that's where discovery really begins.
Wonderful. Thank you for leaving us with that, Chris. And again, learn more and get your copy of Discovery Shift at discovery-shift.com. Chris, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insight with all of us today.
My pleasure, Doug.
Alrighty. Take care, everybody.